A wealthy tobacco plantation owner realizes that he's not going to be able to find a significant other the normal way, so he places an ad and it gets answered by Catherine Deneuve, who has some different motives for wanting to meet him. And of course, this movie that we will be talking about, Mississippi Mermaid, is the movie that was remade with Angelina Jolie and Antonio Banderas in Original Sin. And I'll be talking and comparing both those movies with each other. And this is going to be my final broadcast of 2025. You are watching Psycho Cinema Therapy Theater. My name is Dwayne Walker, and to start out, if you like this program, then please like and subscribe so that you can be alerted when we have new programs. And of course, I aim to have some interviews and all sorts of other interesting documentaries as we continue along on this YouTube journey. This is a movie directed by François Truffaut and starring Catherine Deneuve. And in this movie, of course, just like in Original Sin, he is waiting for his bride-to-be to emerge from the boat, but it is not the person that he thought he was conversing with. He sees a different picture, and she admits that she deceptively used someone else's picture because she didn't want men just to want her for her looks. And he had a confession to make: hey, I just made it sound like I'm a working stiff, but I'm actually own half the island here. And so they both lied to each other, so they are obviously made for each other. And as the movie continues, just like in Original Sin, he falls so head over heels in love with Catherine Deneuve's character that he gives her access to his bank accounts. And then in one interesting scene, we see for the first and only time in this movie the character of Richard, who just appears briefly as Catherine Deneuve is leaving. It looks like they're having an argument, and he slaps her, but that's it. We don't see him through the rest of the movie. But in any event, just like in Original Sin, the sister of the main female character writes a letter to the tobacco plantation owner saying that she wants to know what happened to her sister. And he tries to get Catherine Deneuve to write a letter to her sister, but she's just like Angelina Jolie, just hesitant, doesn't want to do that. But he makes her do that, and then of course she realizes, or the sister realizes, that that person is actually masquerading as her sister. And of course, the tobacco plantation owner doesn't want to think that that's the case, but when he does his own little research, he finds out that she's cleared out his bank accounts. Yes, Catherine Deneuve, like Angelina Jolie, cleared out their bank accounts, and now they're gone, and he thinks his money's gone, and he's really upset that he allowed himself to be that deceived. One of the first things he decides to do after he realizes that he's been ripped off is to go to a detective. And the sister is not only going along with the investigation into the woman purported to be her sister who married the plantation owner, she wants to pay for it, to pay for her end. And of course, he agrees. He agrees to that. So he does what anyone does after they feel totally ripped off and demoralized. He goes to a resort for people who also feel like they've been demoralized, otherwise known as sanitariums, but they certainly look like rich people's havens from this movie. While they're watching TV, he sees a little segment that was done inside a nightclub, and he recognizes Catherine Deneuve, so he buys a gun and goes to that nightclub with the intentions of killing her. But when he meets her in her room, she just says, "Go right ahead. I don't deserve love. You have every right to." And he's so struck with that he decides not to kill her, and then they both fall in love again. He still has enough money from some other assets, obviously, that they can buy a nice sports car and just start getting out of town and just going from resort to resort, having a good old time, until he runs into the detective, who is still on his trail. And he tries to get the detective to give up the case, but you see the sister is also paying him, so he can't drop it. She insisted on paying, which was a smart move on her part, but doesn't reflect well on the plantation owner, who then shoots the detective. And the next thing you know, they're on the lam for murder. And at one point, as they keep going, that she thinks, that she needs to accept her inevitable fate. And of course, he's having his doubts too. And one night they're in a cabin and he's drinking and he just feels like wishing himself dead. And then he realized that she put poison in his cup, and he says, "I know you put poison in the cup, and I'm not stopping," and all that, because I'd rather die than to know that you don't love me. And she slaps the poisonous cup out of his hands, and of course the movie ends where they decide that they're still going to stick together and they're heading for the border so they can escape the country, and then the movie just kind of ends. Whereas in Original Sin, the Angelina Jolie movie, everything pretty much goes similar, except we're in Cuba. We're in 1800s Cuba, and not on the island of Reunion, which is at the Indian Ocean where François Truffaut's movie takes place. But otherwise, the plot's still the same until he shoots the detective, and the detective is dead. But then when he leaves, it turns out that the detective is actually Richard. So they combine two characters that, in my opinion, really shouldn't have been combined, but they combined them anyway. So the next thing you know, he's back alive. He's Richard masquerading as a detective. And anyway, if you have a choice between those two movies, I would definitely go with the François Truffaut Mississippi Mermaid. Although I did like Original Sin. I do enjoy watching it. It's a nice, lush, tropical fantasy to get swept up in. So I don't really have anything bad to say about it. But if you're looking for something that's really going to give you something to ponder and all, it's a good movie to start the year on. And I started the year on this movie thinking about all the crazy predicaments we get ourselves into. And I thought of this movie, the movie of a guy who falls in love with a girl who is robbing him blind. And he's still there. He's still going, even to the point where she's about to kill him. But then she decides she loves him too. Great Valentine's Day movie. Anyway, thank you for watching Psycho Cinema Therapy Theater. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and visit my Etsy store for your Psycho Cinema Therapy Theater sweatshirt, as well as some other interesting t-shirts and novelty products. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.